and welcome to our special broadcast Budget 2021 report card here on DD India. And through this 1 hour show that we'll be hosting, we'll be analyzing the various reforms that have been undertaken by the government and how the budget promises have been fulfilled. Today we'll be discussing in detail about the BharatNet program and the production linked incentive there. We'll also be discussing about these two with the guest during the next 1 hour. First, let's talk about BharatNet. In fact, how this plays an important role in fulfilling the objective of digital India clearly, and how BharatNet is so very important as far as making the internet and the rural connectivity so important in the rural areas of the country as well. Let's take a look at this report and find out more about the successes of BharatNet.
Digital India initiative has played a significant role in boosting India's digital infrastructure and empowering citizens. Government is committed to provide high-speed internet connectivity not only in big cities but also to remotest village in the country. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on India's 74th Independence Day announced from the ramparts of the Red Fort that every village in the country would be connected with optical fiber network within 1000 days.
आप देखिए ऑनलाइन डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन वो भी कैसे बढ़ रहे हैं। 2014 से पहले हमारे देश में 5 दर्जन पंचायतों में ऑप्टिकल फाइबर था। गत 5 वर्ष में 1.5 लाख ग्राम पंचायतों तक ऑप्टिकल फाइबर नेटवर्क पहुंच चुका है। गांव के लोगों को भी इस प्रकार की ऑनलाइन सुविधाओं की जरूरत बढ़ गई है। इसको ध्यान में रखते हुए पहले जो हमने कार्यक्रम बनाया था, हर पंचायत तक पहले पहुंचेंगे, लेकिन आज मैं आपसे बताना चाहूंगा कि अब हमने तय किया है कि सभी 6 लाख से ज्यादा जो हमारे गांव है, उन सभी गांवों में ऑप्टिकल फाइबर नेटवर्क पहुंचाया जाएगा। 1000 दिन के अंदर अंदर देश के 6 लाख से अधिक गांवों में ऑप्टिकल फाइबर नेटवर्क काम पूरा कर दिया जाएगा।
Even during the COVID pandemic time, government ensured that digital infrastructure can be built so that remotest part of the country can access high-speed internet. Prime Minister Modi inaugurated the first ever undersea optical fiber project for Andaman and Nicobar Islands, which provide high-speed broadband connections in the Union Territory at par with the services in the mainland. BharatNet project is the world's largest rural broadband connectivity program using optical fiber. Government aims to provide broadband connectivity to all the 2.5 lakh gram panchayats across India via BharatNet project. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman in her last year's budget stated that the government's vision is to provide digital connectivity to all public institutions at Gram Panchayat level. Rupees 6,000 crores were allocated in 2020-21 to BharatNet program to link 1 lakh Gram Panchayats by providing fiber to the home connections. There are 2 phases of BharatNet project. Phase 1 includes connecting 1 lakh Gram Panchayats. In the phase 2, the government plans to connect 1,50,000 Gram Panchayats for the first time through a public-private partnership. 4,85,001 kilometers of optical fiber cable laid from block to Gram Panchayat. 1,50,474 Gram Panchayat have been provided with broadband connectivity. 3,095 Gram Panchayats in remote areas are connected via satellite. Special efforts were made to spread high-speed broadband connectivity through fiber to the home connection. So far, 4,82,749 fibers to the home connections have been provided. 1,04,026 Gram Panchayats have been installed with Wi-Fi. BharatNet is an ambitious initiative by the government to provide high-speed internet connectivity at all the Gram Panchayats so that rural India can also be empowered with the vision of becoming Atmanirbhar.
And let's now also talk about the production-linked incentive, how this has really been a visionary step as far as making India a manufacturing hub, boosting employment and of course boosting manufacturing, and how this is a step taken for the realization of a self-reliant Atmanirbhar Bharat.
In line with government's Make in India vision and its aim to become Atmanirbhar in electronic manufacturing, government has taken significant steps to attract large investments in mobile phone manufacturing and specified electronic components. The government has announced production-linked incentive scheme for large-scale electronics manufacturing, which heralds a new era in mobile phone and electronic components manufacturing. Under the production-linked incentive scheme, focus is on encouraging manufacture of mobile phones, electronic components and semiconductor. It gives incentive to 4 to 6% to electronics companies which manufacture mobile phones and other electronic components in the country. The scheme is active for 5 years with financial year 2019-20 considered as the base year for calculation of incentives. The total incentive over 5 years has been kept at rupees 40,951 crore, production of rupees 10.5 lakh crore and exports of rupees 6.5 lakh crore is expected over the next 5 years. More than 2 lakh direct jobs are expected to be generated in the next 5 years. India has the potential to become global hub for components manufacturing due to the availability of cost-effective skilled manpower, fast improving infrastructure and the government's push for ease of doing business in the country. The government has also announced a scheme for promotion of manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductors that aims to strengthen the manufacturing ecosystem for electronic components and semiconductors. The scheme for promotion of manufacturing of electronic components and semiconductor proposes to provide financial incentive of 25% on capital expenditure for the identified list of electronic goods that comprise downstream value chain of electronic products. The scheme was approved by the Union Cabinet on 20th of March 2020. New investment in electronic sector envisaged to the tune of rupees 20,000 crore. The scheme may help in increasing the domestic value addition from 20% to 40%. Production-linked incentive for large-scale electronics manufacturing and scheme for promotion of electronic components and semiconductors are playing a significant role in attracting investment, creating jobs and providing conducive environment to enhance electronic manufacturing capacities so that vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat can be realized. Arun Sharma's report, DD India.
Let's introduce our guest at this point, Mr. Dinesh Tyagi, CEO CSE. He joins us at this broadcast, and also Mr. Shubhimal Bhattacharjee. He is in fact, let's go across also. We have Mr. Shubhimal Bhattacharjee, IT and telecom expert as well, and Mr. Shubhendru Sharma, founder Wi-Fi Dabba India Private Limited. Thanks to all of you for joining us here on DD India. Let me begin with you first, Mr. Dinesh Tyagi. You know, Digital India, of course, you know, when we talk about realizing that goal, internet there plays a very critical role, you know, in developing villages. In that context, would you say, Mr. Tyagi, that world's largest rural broadband connectivity program, BharatNet, has proved to be a milestone?
BharatNet, of course, serves the larger purpose of empowering communities and also creating an equity in terms of accessing various services, whether they be in government services or their education, health, or financial services. BharatNet is very revolutionary in that sense because for the first time, a person in rural India will actually feel as if he is equal to an almost one who is in urban area. He gets access to everything which is possible for educating himself, for learning and for getting skills which he want to acquire, and also for employability and also creating opportunity for him to try and earn a livelihood. All these, the BharatNet becomes an integral part. Internet access, of course, becomes an integral part of it. As your report mentioned, the first phase of BharatNet, which was extended to 1 lakh, more than 1 lakh 18,000 panchayats, has been covered and they are made service ready. These panchayats today now provide the access to internet, not only create an access point, but every household can get an fiber in their home, and fiber to home connections.
Right.
So similar to what happens in urban area, a rural person also gets the similar facility of a fiber to home connection, which actually transformed quite a lot. And if you see, the impact is so huge that the appetite for data consumption in rural India because of BharatNet has enhanced significantly. In January of this year, the total data consumption to BharatNet were 56 terabytes. And in the last month, the total data consumption has been 1,000 terabytes. So therefore, the enhancement of the data consumption through BharatNet actually shown the appetite for use of internet for empowering communities in rural India.
Sure. Mr. Bhattacharjee, your comments here for the success of Digital India, an ambitious initiative to provide high-speed internet connectivity like BharatNet was so very important. And, its success is clearly defining, a paradigm shift in Digital India.
Yeah, absolutely. I think ever since this government has come, the focus has been to enhance the possibilities of expanding the digital technology infrastructure through the length and breadth of the country. So, ever since Digital India has come in, and as you have laid out the statistics
Right.
of, so many grand panchayats across the country being connected, Wi-Fi services being available, I'm reminded of a concept that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam used to say, he used to have a concept called Pura, providing urban amenities in, rural atmosphere. So this vision actually is being implemented by the Modi government, that, you are making the connectivity measures ubiquitous so that, you can perform from anywhere in the country, be it urban, rural, semi-urban, whatever it be. And the success of the BharatNet project and the reach out is very clearly known, as Mr. Tyagi has just defined. That the number of usage of the networks, the number of transactions, everything has increased. Of course, last year, because so many months were lost to the pandemic, and people were forced in,
Yes.
and hence the focus more increased. But the fact of the matter is that since 2015, the focus on building the infrastructure, the whole band around the country, and then connecting everywhere, whether it is mobile, whether it is Wi-Fi, whether it is the broadband, I think this has been a fantastic phenomenon.
Sure.
I remember, way back when Mr. Pramod Mahajan was the IT minister in Vajpayee's time, that the community service center projects for the Northeast for connecting 242 blocks were conceived and was being implemented, and that when connectivity went to those places, in a lot of places electricity also went. So now from those days till today, when places, far-flung places like Northeast are seamlessly connected, where people are able to do every bit of transactions as well as social media interactions, this is something resplendent of the success of the impact of digital technology in the country. So I
Right.
think everything is measurable, and
Sure.
more important, I would also like to harp on the fact that the quality of the connectivity is also, improved. We are today able to connect in far-flung places
Right.
at a
Absolutely.
quality speed.
Sure. Right. Okay. Let me bring in Mr. Sharma also at this point. Mr. Sharma, the idea when BharatNet was, of course, launched was to trigger a broadband revolution across the country, and especially in the far-flung, remotest areas of the country, connecting over 2.5 lakh gram panchayats with fast broadband. How would you analyze the successes achieved through BharatNet program?
Good afternoon, ma'am, and thank you for having me today. I think this is a very ambitious project that our government has taken up, and it is going to be a sort of a defining moment in our country's history that all these gram panchayats would be connected. If you look at the success of any government scheme or any healthcare, education, whatever it could be, connectivity has become the the basic defining fundamental thing that people need today. And what better can it be if the gram panchayats across our country can be connected over the high-speed internet access? It would be certainly adding a very defining economic growth for our country as a whole. So if you look at the government initiatives, they have been planning it very meticulously, that all the steps that they are taken, whether it is the BharatNet program, then came the PM1E project, which is the last mile Wi-Fi connectivity initiative, then the startup fund that our Honorable Prime Minister recently announced, a 1,000 crore fund. I think it's a very systematic approach that the government is taking to ensure that the digital initiative for this country finds the final success in the implementation stage. So I think I agree to the other panelists today that the government is on track to deliver a phenomenal service over here, and if the speed
Right.
continues, we should be able to reach our 1,000-day target over here. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Tyagi, this is indeed a visionary project. How would you say that the resources were all mobilized, in the sense that all the gram panchayats are reached in the shortest possible time? So when it comes to planning and conceiving a scheme like BharatNet, how does it all work out? If you could tell us more about, the resources and the energies that are all put in and mobilized.
See, the implementation of started, of course, in 2014, the laying of the fiber. That was one part of the story. Of course, there are large companies who were associated both in public sector and other formats who did the implementation within the schedule defined. But the point was not only laying a fiber, in enabling the uses of the fiber last mile to try and deliver to the customers. That is what the role of the common service center came. The last mile today of the BharatNet is managed, operated by a common service center entrepreneur who lives in the same village and deliver various services. So that is the biggest thing which has happened. I can give a few examples of during the COVID time, the farmers in the country are today able to talk to the Kisan Vikas Kendra, Krishi Vikas Kendra's scientists and take advice either on pest or on seeds or on any agroforestry measure which they want to take it. Recently, we also launched for students a CSE Olympiad during the COVID time when the students were not able to go to school. You will be surprised that during the COVID period, 200,000 students across the country from villages participated in the program. Okay. All these are success related to access of internet, because without internet, they prepare for the exam, they appear for the exams, and they pass. And we get about 120 were awarded who the topmost first, second, third position. And the heartening thing is that 75% of them were girls. So the girls in villages, especially empowering communities, I think the biggest advantage of what is happening, remove the digital divide and also try and address concerns in the villages where the girls and the boys especially the girls have limitation in terms of access to either school or college, etc. They can now study themselves. We are now creating an atmosphere where they can do everything of what they want. They want to learn new technology on artificial intelligence, coding, or something like that. They're just sitting in a village, they can learn that. They can also do tele-consultation for tele-law. Somebody wants to do and consult a lawyer rather than going to some place, he can do. They can do telemedicine. Ayurvedic, homeopathy and allopathy doctors are available. You can consult a doctor. Farmer can sell it produce. See, we also during the COVID time were able to try and sell the pineapple of Tripura to Dubai, the lychee of Bihar to London. But that was possible because there is availability of a good quality connectivity in that village. And that's how the whole linkages are built in through the system. BharatNet will transform every walk of life, whether it's the farmers, whether it's students, or whether it's women. And there are a large number of self-help group women who are now dispensing cash and helping other women because of and using the technology of Aadhaar-enabled payment system. But these are all part of the process because life in villages is getting simplified and almost getting that same benefit which in urban. We are now recent stories of some large number of people who are leaving small jobs or unpaid getting back to rural India and setting up common service centers. See, people leaving jobs and getting self-employed and trying creating community in rural India is is unheard of, at least in the Indian context. BharatNet is an instrument in trying enabling the same format to happen. Of course, there are many other policies of the government which is supporting that initiative, but BharatNet and the Common Service Center is transforming the rural folks in almost everything what they need. We recently launched a hyper-local e-commerce platform. We call it CSE Gramin e-store. And the CSE Gramin e-store during COVID time helps the customers from rural India also to place orders electronically to the nearest CSE store, CSE there, and he can then purchase also electronic. Everything is electronic. The last mile logistic issue, which was a major concern for big e-commerce platform, is being now fulfilled what is called CSE Gramin store. So therefore, huge innovations and large startups taking part in transforming life, but internet and BharatNet have played a significant role in that sector. In that side, we have enormous stories of people learning English in COVID time. One of the girls in Hyderabad, she went to school and taught the entire school an English speaking course and make them learn English. So transformative, very educative, very great learning for us. And I think the BharatNet as a digital infrastructure has playing a significant role in terms. Another few years, once the 1,000 days are completed and every village get connected, you will get such a great transformation. People will love to live in village rather than come to urban areas and get polluted air and other constraints which exist in urban life.
Sure. Okay. Mr. Bhattacharya, Digital India has become more than a slogan. So in that context, adopting digitization and online platforms is so critical. With Indian users, Indians being one of the top consumers when it comes to, the connectivity, especially in the rural areas.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that transformation that is happening in the rural areas, see, we have had a issue of urban migration for a long time, and very many times, there's where because the facilities were not available in the rural area.
Right.
As Mr. Tyagi has also just mentioned, connectivity today defines one of the most important aspects of one's life. So when we are able to provide quality connectivity right up to the village, nobody would want to leave the village and come. We all are looking to a life where we are able to eat organic vegetables and quality food and breathe fresh air and not get confined to the pollution of the cities and all. So even from that point of view, from a national awakening point of view, if you look at it, this connectivity and focus towards having people operate and do things and gainfully earn from their own places, I think this is a concept that takes the nation forward. In US you would find most of the rural areas are equally self-sufficient. So we are silently and diligently over the last few years building that infrastructure, and along with that infrastructure build up, the various applications and services that are also parallelly being pushed are also making a mark. There's a huge amount of e-commerce that happens today from the rural areas, from the tier 2, tier 3 cities or towns. Now this is something that for example, in somewhere in Arunachal Pradesh today, they are able to order things from Amazon or some other platform and all what they want. So earlier they would have had to fly to Calcutta or Delhi to shop and take that. So these are things that are really impacting the people's lives. People are able to do banking online from far-flung areas. They have people who go to their villages and are able to disburse them money, So all of this are happening. And then because of Aadhaar link direct benefit transfer, so you are able to make a foolproof payment to, the people who are the beneficiaries without any leakages in between. So if you see the fulfillment of many of the government services, the aspirations of, citizens and individuals, that is being fulfilled gradually, generally, and in an expansive mode across the country seamlessly because of the usage of technology. So I'll just give you one, small example. For example, e-services in 2014, only 2,400 something were being provided. Today, more than 3,800 services are provided by the MED. The daily transactions, electronic transactions from 66 lakhs in 2014 today stands at 16.3 crores. Before COVID came, around this time last year, we had 12.5 crore transaction daily. So I think, these are some of the points that show that if we are able to provide these facilities, these solutions, these applications to the people to be able to comfortably do things from their areas, this is something that is going to transform this country, and that is the vision with which the Prime Minister's ideas are moving. One more point I wanted to also say that through the COVID period, we have first seen the Arogya Setu, and now the effort to get the CoWIN.
The CoWIN application, yes.
So now in all of that, if you see, we have also sort of cut across the typical bureaucratic, red tape sometimes that coming in the form of tenders and all. With a base, we are able to go to attract talent in the form of these, competitions, hackathons, or, last mile fulfillment. So there we are able to utilize the talents that are across the country, the technical and the software skills within the country, to be able to really dedicatedly, involve themselves in nation building. I see so many youngsters, feeling so motivated whenever they see something like that being put across to them, where they're able to submit an application online, we're able to compete online, and and some of the apps that have come up in the hackathon of August 2020, in the Smart India Hackathon,
right?
They're phenomenal. The library management system from IIIT Hyderabad, or Satya from the NIT Warangal, these are some things that are world class. So
Absolutely.
why we were always wondering, that most of our talents are going, to the abroad, or to all the best of the institutions, or the companies, with salaries and all. But there is a huge pool of talent, hidden talent, or talent that is not getting a platform to perform. And this is where all this current form of, competitive activities are able to allow them to come and participate.
Right.
This is a great aspect again of this whole ecosystem that is being built up.
Absolutely. Okay, let's go across to Mr. Sharma now. Mr. Sharma, taking forward from what Mr. Bhattacharya was saying, there's optimum utilization of resources and optimum utilization of, as far as the rural India as well, utilizing what can be achieved through digital India. So would you say, Mr. Sharma, that BharatNet is so very critical when it comes to ensuring that the rural India reap the dividends, or reap the digital dividends as well?
Absolutely, yes. That's certainly a very valid statement, and I totally agree with that. This you have to understand one thing, right? Connectivity is the fundamental thing that anything requires today, whether it's communication, whether it's for education, healthcare, government facilities. So if we have this connectivity of at such large scale, where all these gram panchayats and the rural and the tier 3 and tier 4 towns are connected across on a fiber infrastructure, this is going to be there for the next coming few decades that we would reap the benefits out on, right? It's not just that you'll see the effects of these in the next 5 years or so. No, this is going to be next 30-40 years that India is going to reap the benefits out of this. Whether it is e-commerce, whether people migrating back to the rural and smaller towns and working from there. The COVID situation, what happened, people are migrating back to their hometowns with work from home facilities coming up, and people considering working along with their families, living with parents. I think BharatNet somewhere is going to play a very critical role in achieving those goals, right? I have a personal example. Our house help in the March of 2020, when the lockdown was announced, and we all went into the lockdown. Our house help decided to move back to their, the rural area where she came from in Andhra Pradesh. And since then, she hasn't returned. Her kids are now, with the local school, they are able to, go to the school. They have BharatNet available in the town in Andhra Pradesh. It's a population of less than 10,000 people, and they have access to internet. And they do not need they do not need the field to come back to Bangalore back again. They are able to generate their livelihood over there. So a key critical part has been the whole internet infrastructure that exists in their town, in which they are able to generate new sources of income for themselves going online. Their kids helping them come online and find new ways to earn their livelihoods. So this is going to be a long-term impact. This is not a short-term project. This is a very visionary project. This is the country is going to see the benefits for the next few decades if I see and read the situation correctly. So a phenomenal project,
Absolutely. Mr. Tyagi, taking forward from what Mr. Sharma is saying, of course, this is not a short-term vision. This was a vision, keeping long-term goals in mind. How would you analyze as far as this project has helped, attracting investments, changing the governance? Mr. Sharma talked about the education delivery in rural India, especially. This was also started with training millions of youth for new age jobs and new age technology. How would you analyze all of these goals having been achieved through BharatNet?
Sure. See, let's take the governance part. See, one of the problems for citizens, especially in rural India, is to access various government services. And that limitation continues, because not only that he is unable to go for getting an access, the distance location also acts as a constraint. Plus also the amount of time and money spent in accessing simple services is also a very big constraint. the access to internet and creating an assisted format like a common service center in the village, try and help to him to access that. So the governance gets redefined. Rather than people coming to your office, you get delivered to their house. That is how the governance structure gets redefined in that format. It is actually making what the Honorable Prime Minister said, I will give you every government service in your hand. In a hand means in the mobile. So you don't have to go to a government office. So what is simplification of life for people in villages if they can access every service in their village without visiting a government office? Similar to the bank, why should somebody go to the bank for accessing some basic banking services? There are 60,000 branches after 70 years of independence, and there are 6 lakh villages. The traditional system will never actually provide for mitigating these problems. And I have gone to many villages, seen these women. My money has come, I have to go to 15 kilometers to withdraw the money from bank branch.
Okay.
Today the technology, which is what Aadhaar enabled system, which we are doing it and enable these women, think you could run it a mobile phone with a biometric device and take your money from whatever account you want to take that. It's fantastic, it's unimaginable. Same for healthcare. There are women in villages who have never gone to a doctor in their life. They're not gone to the doctor. But when they see the doctor on the computer, they're actually very happy. And many times, physical doctor, they can't tell everything to him. They're hesitant to tell anything to the physical doctor. But a computer doctor, they can tell everything. And therefore, diagnosis become very easy. Healthcare. We also launched something on animal healthcare, tele-agriculture, which is unbelievable, which is all creating an access to it. So you are simplifying life of every person in the village in order to try and do that. For the farmers, of course, there's a PM Kisan Samman Nidhi. The money gets transferred to the account. He doesn't have to go to the bank. And there are many of them are actually sick. They can't even move. They have to be carried to the bank to withdraw the money. Taken today, our entrepreneur who is sitting in the village can go to their house and try and help them in withdrawing the money. So what is simplification by enabling using technology and also BharatNet? BharatNet will also do 2 things. And of course, as mentioned by the previous speaker, see, BharatNet is also creating work from home culture. Today, legally, you are permitted to do work from home.
Yes.
And once you work from home, I'm sure many of the people who live in Delhi, Bangalore, Noida, Gurgaon, at some point in time, maybe 2 months break, they will go to a village and sit there, provided there's a good connectivity available. The key is the connectivity, and they can actually enjoy village life. Village tourism will enhance significantly in that, and reverse migration will take place. Many of those who have problems and want to take care of the family will go there. So reverse migration, the work from home culture, and creating employment potential. The one, of course, you said on creating job opportunity for people. BharatNet itself, see, to maintain and manage the fiber, you need people. So if there are 6 lakhs villages, you will actually need 6 lakhs people to maintain and operate the center. Those 600,000 jobs in any case get created in that. So BharatNet is also an instrument to create large-scale employment in rural India. And added to that, many other services which I'm dealing, everybody needs some support service. I did mention about the Grameen store. We now have about 150,000 CSC Grameen store. Each one of them employ 5 people. So see, look at that amount. 650,000 people are now employed in CSC Grameen. They work as both courier boys. They actually go and deliver the goods and services to the household. So BharatNet, all these are creating employment in rural India. There's a huge opportunity for new avenues and new technology to be used, create employment potential and exploit them. And these boys and girls in rural India are phenomenal. We were shocked, and I can give you examples that when we started and doing through CSC and managing BharatNet, everybody said, but you don't have engineer, how do you manage and repair the fiber? But see, these boys and girls who are not gone to a college, who are not even ITA student, but they're phenomenal. Today they do repair of BharatNet fiber. They've been skilled and they learn the skills. So let's not underestimate the skilling which is existing. We only hone up those skills in using technology and try and support them. So today, entire BharatNet ecosystem in the village is maintained by the local person. And he is not studied quite a lot, but he is actually highly skilled. So creating a new kind of waves and potential for them. We're also trying and doing some rural BPOs. We are getting large companies saying, why don't you shift that BPO from urban area to rural? And we have set up about 100 of them in various locations, 5-seater, small rural BPOs, largely run by women. And they're too good. They're far better than what a urban. So all those problems in urban areas or BPOs which exist actually disappears, and the companies are doing. So we are talking to some of the companies. We are also talking to government to try and help and support us in running these small BPOs operated managed largely by women in rural India. These girls and boys who are never able to get a job actually get employed in the center. BharatNet is a key.
Right.
As everyone said, in every of the panelists mentioned, the basic foundation for this revolution to take place for creating employment opportunities, transforming life, creating digital equity, is the BharatNet. All this will happen only through Bharat.
Absolutely. Mr. Bhattacharya, your comments here, BharatNet's deep penetration in rural India, and like Mr. Tyagi was saying, because of this reverse migration, getting a boost, tourism, they're getting a boost. How do you see internet there, increasingly becoming the driver of economic growth and BharatNet helping that goal to be achieved?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with Mr. Tyagi, and as I have said earlier also, that that a lot of people with the quality broadband are actually thinking about migrating back, are already going back, looking at so many other things also. I had mentioned about the issue of congestions in cities and pollution and all, and where you go to the villages you get good quality of life. But added to that, I'll just add one point to what Mr. Tyagi had also said, that look at the phenomenon in this country where you are finding individuals at the local level to manage the fiber network in the villages and all. And more important, I would add to that is that sense of ownership that is coming from someone within the village. It's such a great boon. We see in this country in many places, properties are defiled or desecrated or even damaged and all. Now, here when you have someone who is taking care of that, he feels that ownership, and since he's from within that space, the whole village itself takes care of such a network. And also in a way, that huge network of fiber networks are also we are protecting because of that sense of involvement and belonging that has also been setting through that network. But having said so, rural tourism across the country, rural commerce from the far-flung areas, this is a country of huge diversity. Every tribe, everyone has their own dresses, their own food habits, lovely, traditional aspects of culture, dances and everything. These are some of the things that are also today coming out, because of the possibility of the seamless network. The CSCs have been a great boon, to integrate also a lot of the village and the villagers and elevate the level of village level discussions also, and see how they optimize what they have in their villages in terms of their capacity. A rural artisan today finds far much more avenues to sell things on larger platforms, online platform, because someone through that network is trying to push it across there. I've been told such stories from young girls in Mizoram and all, where whatever they weave, they are able to now find even international market for that. Similarly, a dance form in southern Assam towards Tripura, they said that now they have got requests to send across their videos, and after lockdown they would be called for performances somewhere in Mumbai. But these are some of the stories, these are some of the tourism stories that are emerging because somebody has got a chance to put it across. Internet is ubiquitous, internet is a free medium, and if we are all able to utilize it for positive purposes, that's where we benefit. So these are live examples that we all see across the country.
Absolutely.
And that's why, I think we all have to see that this can be, taken to a far much larger length at a far much lesser time.
Absolutely. Let's go across to Mr. Sharma now. Mr. Sharma, of course, at the center of this transition to a digital world is the availability, and that's very critical, the availability of a reliable and affordable data network. In this present scenario of competition and, level playing field, how would you say that is being ensured in making sure that programs, the initiatives like BharatNet achieve the success that they were, envisioned, they were designed to achieve?
I'll tell you some background. So we run a Wi-Fi company, and we call Wi-Fi Dabba, and we provide last mile connectivity. So we have been closely looking at BharatNet project since 2016 and 17.
Right.
Our personal experience has been then when the project was running in the around 2016-17, we used to face a lot of fiber cuts, and fiber was not well maintained. What we have seen ourselves, and I agree to Mr. Tyagi, with the skill-based employment, the approach that CSC has taken, it's a very phenomenal step to maintain these fiber in the last mile Gram Panchayat location levels. We ourselves, when we have deployed in some of the rural places in the country, we have seen the difference what we were having of the fiber quality back in 2017 from what we have today. So kudos to them for putting this, the whole skill-based, community-driven approach to maintain this last mile fiber. So congratulations on that. Talking about the last mile, a level playing field. So certainly the government has been taking the right steps in that direction. So, when we reached out to them earlier about, startups like ours were not able to participate in these programs, the large-scale program. Government has been able to take the right steps. I would like to again talk about PM Vani, the scheme that came up in the December month of 2020, where the reselling of the last mile bandwidth is now allowed legally in India, right? Which is essentially means that anybody, a person in a village now has a small kirana store, will be able to set up a Wi-Fi hotspot and will be able to sell data. So at the ground level, with simple policy changes but very effective policy changes, the government is creating the right environment for small entrepreneurs to come up and start selling digital services. Once he has the connectivity, he or she has the connectivity at his or her location, they are able to not just sell internet, but they are also able to sell ancillary services, such as they could now set up a Aadhaar enrollment center, or they could go and become an e-commerce pickup and drop point. They could sell online booking transactions. They could provide a cyber cafe environment for their users and customers. So again, the field is now being set. Now it is up to companies like us and other startups to come forward and take the advantage of the platform that the phenomenal platform that has been created to take it forward and create the last mile use cases for both semi-urban and rural India. So the platform is set. It is about startups like us to come forward and deliver on the last mile solutions. For that, again, government has recently announced a 1,000 crore fund. I would request to your viewers who are serious about this to look at some of those schemes and get the benefit out of them, and try and set up these services in their hometowns and rural India. It is going to be a game changing for everyone.
Okay, absolutely. And let's now move on and focus on the production linked incentive now. Mr. Tyagi, bringing you here at this point, how do you see this scheme, the production linked incentive, there being a game changer when we talk about realizing the goal of Atmanirbhar Bharat is concerned?
Yeah, see, the COVID did affect a large segment of manufacturing in that segment, especially the sale of computers, laptops, mobiles got affected in that sense. I think this production link incentive will re-energize that sector and try and support customers to try and bargain for it and get the access to it. PLI is a great incentive to mitigate the hardship which these units have undergone basically during the COVID time. So I do believe that very good, because, and also an opportunity for people to do expansions, because many of the small companies were trying, doing something. Now they can expand, and the expansion will benefit them from the government incentive. Part of the incentive will try and help them in expansion. Market is huge, not only within India and even outside. They can explore those opportunities. But I think PLI was a much needed support for the Atmanirbhar Bharat program and Vocal for Local. See, that initiative did require some incentive from government, and PLI is actually an initiative in that direction. So it will be a great boon for local manufacturers in order to try and increase their capacity, recover from the shocks as they have gone into COVID time, and try and restructure their plants and machineries to produce new goods and services.
Okay. Mr. Bhattacharya, your analysis here as far as PLI scheme, they're making India a significant manufacturing destination and also logging on to the global supply chain.
Yeah, I would go a little bit beyond Mr. Taggi's point. I would
Sure.
say that, the extent of the handsets are where, which would require electronic components. I think that within the country itself is so huge that in the next few years, in the last few years, we have been buying most of the mobile devices from outside the country. At least during this government's time, a lot has been focused to make manufacturing in the country possible, and now, of course, incentivized with the PLI. But an 4 to 6% incentive, I would think, is a very good attempt. And 5 years again is a good window of time. Now, look at where we stand. We are at about, say, 70 crore people connected to the internet in the country out of our 130 crores. And then out of the 70, more than 50% today are on mobile computing. Now, as Digital India spreads, as your broadband networks go in, and we have, mind you, one of the lowest cost of data in the country, as more and more services, come in the local languages, get far much more to the people get inured and used to all of that. I think the demand for handsets and devices within the country is going to increase significantly. So while we have already targeted a 6.5 lakh crore export in the next 5 years, and a domestic industry of 10.5 crores. But what I would say is that the sheer numbers that would be required in the country in terms of the devices and all, we cannot miss this opportunity of not taking advantage in this sector, particularly when we are really pushing on Atmanirbhar Bharat. I'll also tell you, it's a larger idea of this government, to see that how much we bring production in the country in many other areas where technology is involved. You look at the defense sector today, most of the defense products are primarily pushed based on communicating technology or data-driven technology, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and everything even come in there. Now, right from the defense and the space, which is at the highest level, to these devices like mobile handsets and components and semiconductors, everything, we are focusing as much as we can get within the country, because not only it, of course, adds to the economic advantages, price reduction happens, availability happens, it also adds to the security, that's always there around all these electronic devices. Cyber security is becoming a very, very big issue.
Sure.
And the most important issue is, that how do you reduce that risk? And one of the major ways you reduce that risk is when you build in this country. So I think that's absolutely that performance-linked incentive around the manufacturing sector beyond, giving a fillip to newer entrepreneurs and all, also pushes the existing fellows, also industries to invest and, take advantage.
Okay. Mr. Sharma, what would you say? How has the PLI scheme enhanced India's manufacturing capacities, and also not just that, also enhanced exports under the Atmanirbhar Bharat program?
It has certainly on the right track. I would say government is working on the right at the policy level. As far as our experience is, what we have seen is government, to talk about the specific telecom industry, they are considering under the PM Vani scheme where incentive link program can be created, where the routers that we mostly import today from the other countries could be manufactured in our country itself, which essentially is the last mile device required to activate the BharatNet project. So they are taking the right steps. It is going to be now, the financial institutions that are working with the startups and the other, the manufacturing companies to provide them with the initial capital for them to set up these units and get benefit out of these, the PLI schemes that the government is coming up with regularly. To talk about a little more about the impact of, the PLI schemes, it could be huge in generating not just the the employment that it could create, but and the whole Atmanirbhar Bharat that our honorable PM talks about, right? So if that has to happen, I think PLI will play a very critical role in achieving certain of those goals, where we as a country could produce the majority of the goods that are required to become self-resilient. So right steps, they're taking the right direction, right policy changes. It is now how quickly we can implement them and can onboard the other players that are required in this ecosystem to come together and actually deliver on ground. So the kind of success that we are today seeing in the BharatNet project, I'm pretty confident that in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll certainly see a huge boost in the manufacturing sector as well in our country. So
Okay.
I'm positive about it. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Mr. Tyagi, also positioning India here as a manufacturing hub for the new age industries, and also, industries which are labor intensive. For those industries, PLI scheme plays a very critical role.
Yeah, definitely, because as Mr. Sharma said, large opportunities for employment will get generated once you have these industry taking the benefit and doing expansions. Also, those small who's got affected, the labor where got affected because of COVID will come back when they start reviving themselves with the incentive being provided by the government. PLI will definitely try and give the necessary impetus for addressing those concerns by the industry in various sectors, and also an opportunity for startups to take a new step forward.
Okay. Mr. Bhattacharjee, your comment here, Indian manufacturers, they are becoming globally competitive, and especially, attracting investments in the areas of core competency and cutting edge technology. So core competency and cutting edge technology, how are these two goals being achieved through the PLI scheme?
See, core competency and cutting edge technology, I think, these are part of a larger realization that Indian manufacturing is, coming up to world standards. Look at the, recent trade wars that has been happening, and particularly when, everyone has been clamoring that whatever manufacturing is moved out of China, we should be able to, get that pie. Now, leaving aside the Indian aspiration, which obviously stems from a policy level right up to, people who are doing business on the ground, but the international community, some of the large and responsible countries, they look at India as a country that has capacity, that has technology, that has technical minds, who are able to do things and do it at a world-class standard level. We have been good in the software and services industry. We have set benchmarks, where we are trusted for our, adherence to norms and, whatever service level agreements that we sign.
Right.
But that itself has set a very good precedent to look at India when there is a requirement of looking at quality as well as a cheap manufacturing base. Now, when I use the word cheap, I don't mean that you just make it something like a Chinese product and flood the market. No, these are products that have to meet the quality norms and standards, and that is where little by little we are expanding and all. And when you give the PLI facility to many of these MSMEs, to many of the startups and all, to do specific work at various tiers of such requirements, it's definitely going to benefit. In the defense industry in this country, we have seen many of our small MSMEs also getting into the global supply chain of reputed OEMs. Similar phenomenon will absolutely work out, and these are all an opportunity that is time bound, and if we do it now, then we do it for the long haul. It continues for years.
Absolutely. So how is this going to be a game changer, Mr. Bhattacharjee, in the long term?
I see this as a absolutely a game changer, because the moment you are establishing your credentials with your gradual entry and expansion in this area, you build up the trust of the international community. A lot of the devices today which depend upon chip, which depend upon artificial intelligence and machine learning technology and everything, also have a lot of geopolitical tags to it. You know, so in that scenario, you know, India as a country always stands out, you know, to the Western world, particularly to the US and many of the European countries, even to Japan and all. Now, in this geopolitical scenario, when we are also able to fill up the gaps that these countries need, and not only fill up the gaps, we are able to become a credible source of, you know, supply. That's there in the absolutely an advantage in the long term. I can tell you very clearly that, you know, today in most of the countries, whenever they are introducing a device in a sensitive network, they have to do all the checking, debugging, etc. and all. Even today, you know, if you are able to get into manufacturing, you know, these kind of products where we are trusted, we have all these capabilities also built, you know, within the country. You know, this itself, you know, enhances a business possibility for the next, you know, couple of decades or more.
Okay. All right. With that, it's a wrap on this broadcast. Thank you very much, Mr. Tyagi, Mr. Bhattacharjee and Mr. Sharma for joining us here on DD India and discussing more about these initiatives, BharatNet and PLI. Tomorrow we'll be back same time, same place, but with a brand new subject. So do tune in, and news and updates continue here on DD India. Thanks for being with us.